friendship. Lord, this is about the advice from a friend. You see what Job says in Job chapter 16, verse 2? Job is going to respond to his friends giving him advice, and he does not have a good response. He says, I have heard many things like these. You are miserable comforters, all of you. That's what Job said about his three friends who came to try to comfort him. And they did not have any words of comfort that comforted Job during his troubles. And I really wanted to talk to you tonight about listening to the advice from people you call friends. Be careful who you get your advice from. And really, the truth is, you shouldn't give people advice. You should only give them counsel. And it's a difference between giving them counsel and giving them advice. As a pastor, I don't give anybody advice. I give you counsel because I'm not in your shoes. I don't know your circumstances. And I don't know all the emotions that you have attached to what you're going through. And so I'm very careful about giving advice. I only give counsel. And be careful listening to people who want to give you advice. And especially people who think they know what you're going through. They really don't. People can sympathize with you. And in a sense, they can empathize with you, but they cannot walk in your shoes, and they're not walking in your shoes. These three people who showed up where Job was to comfort Job, they tried to give Job advice about what he was going through that they were not going through. They were looking at Job, and they were going to try to explain to Job why he was going through what he was going through. None of them were going through it. They had their health, they had their wealth, and they had their family. Job had lost all of that. And now they're going to try to explain to Job why he lost everything, why God has allowed this to happen. And if you read the three different conversations that each of them had with Job, all of them are going to blame Job. They're going to point the finger at Job. That Job, the reason why you're suffering is because of something you've done, because of sin you've committed, because you have some unconfessed sin, that God is angry at you because you're not what you say you are. You give this projection that you are this righteous person, but God knows that you have some secret sin that you've not confessed, that only He knows. That's why you're suffering. They tried to explain away Job's suffering by their reason and logic. They wanted to tell Job what God was thinking and tell Job why he was going through what he was going through, because what they thought they knew what God was thinking and why Job was going through what he was going through. Be careful when you take advice from people. Listen, I'm going to give you something now. Karen Gibson, listen to me. Don't take unsolicited advice. When somebody come trying to tell you something and give you advice that you didn't ask for, that's automatically a red flag. One of my favorite verses in the scripture is in the book of Proverbs. Listen to this. A wise man only makes a decision in the counsel of many, but that wise man seeks the counsel of many, and the counsel of many that comes to advise him, he asks them to come. The biggest problem is you have people who come and give you unsolicited advice. You didn't ask them for no advice, but they got advice about your life, situation, circumstance. Got an opinion. Be careful when people walk up to you and try to give you some advice that you didn't ask them for. That's the most dangerous advice. You get what I'm saying? They see you, and then they come up and say, well, go ahead. I ain't got the exact word, but I'll find it for you before I leave. But it's one of my favorite verses. A wise man never makes a decision outside the counsel of many. And so what that verse in Proverbs is teaching is that you need to have a group of people around you at a minimum of 2, on the high end about 3, that you seek before you make any decision. And that's what Solomon teaches. You need a council of people around you to talk to before you make some of these life-altering decisions. But those are people who you trust and people who you have confidence in and people who have your best interest in mind and people who can tell you the truth and give you an honest assessment about the decision you're about to make. You get what I'm saying? So even when I buy a car, I got about 3 people that I call. And I get their advice because I trust their judgment. Not that they're going to make the decision for me, but I get their counsel because I'm honest when I tell them, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to buy it. This is my financial situation. And do you think it's a good move? You know what I'm saying? Most people are impulsive. Can I say this? Don't do everything because you want to or because you have to. Things that you do because you want to or you have to, sometimes you can do them in haste. Ain't the truth what I'm saying? You want to, and you feel like you have to, sometimes that's when you need to step back, take a breath, seek counsel, talk to somebody, get their input, because sometimes we rush into things because we want to, or we feel like we have to. Just wait a minute. Slow down. Don't be so impulsive. So what I started this conversation by saying, don't let people give you unsolicited advice. Okay, I'm going to give you the best example, and I ain't picking on nobody. They see you with a man. Out. Y'all having a good time, out to dinner, they over there by themselves. They see you out, he opened the door for you, pulled the chair out for you. Y'all eating and having a good time, y'all over there laughing, they looking. Y'all leave the restaurant, they leave, they see you 2 or 3 days later. They walk up to you, girl, let me tell you about that man you was with. Shut them down. Because you didn't ask for them about the man you chose to go out to dinner with. That ain't none of their business. That ain't none of their business. But that's the first thing people will try to give you an opinion about somebody you decide to go out with, and you didn't ask them before you went out, and you shouldn't listen to what they said after you have made the choice to go out with. I'm just giving you a simple example. Because people will have 100 opinions about a decision you made that doesn't affect them at all. You might have already weighed the risk, counted the costs. And you might have had a bad experience with this person, with this situation, or with this circumstance. That don't mean I'm going to have a bad situation. You might have been crazy, unhinged, and crazy. You see what I'm saying? Am I making sense to you? Some people love to give you unsolicited advice. You didn't ask them anything, but they come up and try to give you advice and spit out their opinion. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you. Do not take unsolicited advice. See, this is why some of you church folk get in trouble. You be missing church over here at Pilgrim Grove, and you go down to the church of the living God with the Apostle John. You sit in there think you're going to hear a sermon, and he start calling you up to the front. Next thing you know, he giving you some unsolicited advice. The Lord told me to tell you. You see what I'm saying? You didn't go there for that. You went there to hear the word. But they're going to try to now give you unsolicited advice, pull you up to the front, and tell you what the Lord, and they're going to start advising you what the Lord told them to tell you to do. Now listen, we believe in the priesthood of every believer. If the Lord want to talk to me, he can talk to me directly through his spirit, through his word. Don't come giving me no unsolicited advice now. I'm just trying to explain to you that's a dangerous, dangerous thing. And people really don't understand and how serious this is. People love to do it, especially now. Go ahead. They ain't gonna do that because they believe in revelation, not inspiration. The word will tell you what God is going to say, but they don't want to do that. They want to say that because it is a form of manipulation and control, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to get to the point because see this. Joe Friend showed. Let me give you this because glad to get me off track and get me ranting on my soapbox. So I'm going to get on back on the track. Job's friends came and Job did not invite them to come. They just showed up. And when they first showed up, they didn't say nothing. They got that part right. Don't get me started on this. You know, when people die, that I'm a member of the church I pastor, I try not to go on the first day because all y'all going to be there. Talking all that crazy nonsense. And I can't get my pastoral counsel in because you there holding hand, talking about, girl, I know what you're going through. Who and I lost my mama. What that got to do with anything? Just go there and say, I'm praying for you. I'm there for you if you need me. I'm here for you, and leave. Some of you just do too much. If they don't ask you to help them, don't try to volunteer to help you. If they don't ask you to help them write the obituary, get food, find a place to have a funeral, just be quiet. Just say, look, we're here for you if you need me. Call on me if you need me. That's what I'm saying. Unsolicited advice. Unsolicited. See, my mama used to tell me, she really did, when you was a kid, when people offer you something you didn't ask for, you need to be suspicious. Because they might have an ulterior motive. You just got to be careful. So they showed up, they didn't say nothing, but then they started talking. And then after they got through talking, Job chapter 16, verse 2 says, I heard many things like these, and you are miserable comforters, all of you. He talked about they got to talking. They talked for a long time. If you go back and look at these speeches are long speeches. They started trying to explain to Job why he's suffering. Now let me give you this. You don't know why God is allowing or letting a person go through what they're going through. I cannot explain your life. The life of trials and tribulations, sickness, illness, and all of the misfortune you might be going through. I can't explain it. I don't know why we have to cry sometimes. I'm telling you, now I can give you the source of all trouble, trials, tribulations, sickness in your life. I can give you the three sources to which they come from. Some of it comes from God, some of it comes from Satan, and some of it is caused by you. You cause some of the troubles you have. You're suffering the consequences of actions. Some of it the devil is causing, and then some of it God allows to happen. And then some of it, it's just life. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. The righteous get sick, and so does the unrighteous. The unrighteous has misfortunes, and so does the righteous. There is no God, you, or the devil behind it. It's just what happens in life. This earthly tabernacle dissolves. This earthly tabernacle is affected by sickness and disease. All of us are a disease-ridden creatures. All of us have some kind of disease. I don't care how healthy you are, how much medicine you take, how much exercise you do, and how healthy you live, you still are a disease-ridden human being. Something gonna take you out of here. Ain't got nothing to do with the devil, ain't got nothing to do with God, and really ain't got nothing to do with you. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get old. Ain't the truth what I'm saying. Fight it all you wanna. And folk will come to you, the reason why you sick is because so-and-so, this, that, and the other. No, I'm sick because I'm a human being in all kind of disease, and I live in a sin-cursed world, and things are going to happen. So this is what he says to him. He says, y'all are miserable comforters, all of you. Nobody could give Job, and they shouldn't have been trying in the first place, trying to explain to Job why he's going through what he's going through. Now listen, you got to understand, Job, when he was going through it, didn't know. We know because we got it in hindsight. We're reading Job's story. Job is completely unaware of why he's going through what he's going through. Let me give you this. Y'all need to write this one down. Don't let people advice be a factor in you making decisions that are in your best interest. You make a decision based on your own convictions, because people never know what you might can live with that they can't. Ain't the truth what I'm saying? Story is this. That man drunk. When I was growing up, he drunk. He was a drunk. And he just drunk and he stayed drunk. And everybody was telling this woman in the neighborhood I live, she need to leave that man, leave that man, leave that man, leave that man. Because he drunk all the time. And he get drunk on Friday after he got paid and be drunk and walk home. But he go home every Friday, but he be drunk. He go and get him liquor and drink. He wouldn't do it, but on Friday, on the weekend, he drank. And everybody talking about that woman should leave that man. You know what that woman told him? I got a roof over my head and my 8 kids got food and clothes. Now what you can't live with, I can. And you think I'm gonna put this man out because you couldn't live with him? He treat us fine. He get drunk, but he don't beat on us. He don't mistreat us. He pay the bills. He take care of our family. And other women with my same situation, they got a man who don't drink. And they ain't got nothing. You never know what a person can live with that you can't live with. You know what I'm saying? What you can't tolerate, other people can. Don't you let somebody make you lose something based on how they feel about you having it and they don't have it. I'm trying to help y'all. Because see, you'll give up something good because somebody told you what they wouldn't put up with. Girl, I wouldn't put up with that. Ain't nowhere in the world I'm dealing with that. Because you ain't got that. You ain't got nothing. You'd be surprised what you put up with if you could get something. See, some of these women just flat out lying. If they could get a man, you'd be surprised what they put up with. Ain't the truth what I'm saying? Now see, y'all, you listen to the blues too much. See, y'all too fancy, got too much. It is better to have a piece of man than no man at all. You say what you want to, that's fine, that's for you though. See, that very thing I'm making my point. Now that's for you. That's for you. That is for you. I just gave you a story. That is for you. That's for you. But that not everybody believes that. I just told you a woman said the man drank every Friday night he came home, but at least her and her 8 children had a roof over their head, clothes on their back, food on their table, and he didn't beat them one time. She did not have a perfect man, but she had a piece of man. But that's fine for you. That's my point. But now if you see a woman with a piece of man that you wouldn't have, don't advise her, girl, I wouldn't put up with him. That just ain't for you. That's what I'm saying. Y'all, am I making sense to you? Don't try to make decisions for other people based on your tolerance level. That's fine. You couldn't live with it. That's fine. That's your personal feeling. But that's not for everybody. Huh? I can't hear you. That's right. You never know people's some people can live with other people can't live with. And so advice has to be understood in that way. You don't have the tolerance for this. I do. If Michael could find him a 30-year-old, I don't care how she treated him. I don't care what y'all said. If she using him, come on home, baby, use me. She ain't doing nothing but want him for you. She don't want him for nothing but his money. Michael B. said, but that's fine. She can get it. As long as I'm smiling when she leaves. Listen, let me tell you something. It ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the thing I tell people when they start giving advice, and so many people lose something because somebody advised them what they wouldn't put up with. A lot of women have lost a good men because listening to other women. And a lot of men have lost some good women listening to other men, other women. That's the truth of what I'm saying. You couldn't put up with nothing that man doing, but she can, because she know him. She know Lester. She know Lester's just a bunch of bluff and puff. In public, it look like Lester in charge of everything, be running that woman. As soon as that door closed, Lester be like, yeah, ma'am, sugar. Come home and hand that check to her every Friday. You just got to be, I'm just telling you, that's the difference. And okay, I'm finna shift to something else. Parenting. Boy, people get on my nerves with this one. First of all, you ain't got no kids to be giving me parenting advice. Walk up some in my shoes. I got lived experience. You just got what you think is learned experience. You got to walk in my shoes. Especially people who have children, don't ever criticize somebody's children because they make mistakes. You got children. I've learned to pull back a little bit about the way parents love their children. Everybody loves their children different. I'm a little stricter, but I understand everybody don't have the heart I have. And so I'm going to be careful about what I think a person should do when it's concerning their children. I don't know the tightness, the circumstances. There's a whole lot of things going on. You just don't know. So go ahead. Wait till you ask, or if it directly affects you, or if it directly affects y'all. That's when you have a right to chime in. But unsolicited advice, if you see that him and his kids are having a conflict, you should stay out of it. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You see what I'm saying? So they get through arguing, and then they leave, and you say, well, she wouldn't talk to me like that. That ain't got nothing to do with you. If he let her talk to him like that, that ain't on you, that's on him. You see what I'm saying? As long as she ain't talking to you like that. See, I'm telling you something. When you have these co-parenting or these cohabitations where there is a child that's there that's not yours and you with somebody, the best thing to do sometimes when there's a situation between the parent and the child and you're not paternally the parent is walk out of the room. And if he talked to you about it or she talked to you about it, that's when you can chime in. You see what I'm saying? Because it's some relationship ties that are there that you don't understand. You see what I'm saying? And you ain't gonna ever come between a parent and a child. And if it comes down to a choice, most people are not like me. If let's just say if me and Steen were married, Steen come first. My children are second. I don't care what they think. I don't care how they feel, and their happiness is nothing to do with me. I ain't making no decision based upon whether they like it, they happy, or whether I care anything about what they think. I don't care. This would be the more important relationship. The husband and wife relationship is more important than the children and parent relationship. First of all, that's on the man, because ain't no child gonna say that. Ain't no child gonna say that to a woman I choose to be in my life. That's just, and this ain't no advice. I'm telling you, what you might be right, but first of all, ain't no respectable man that chooses a woman to be in his life gonna let his children talk to the woman that he's chosen to be with like that. Period. If he a real man, he gonna check that child right quick. First of all, you ain't gonna talk to her like that, and if you think you gonna talk to her like that, that door that you just came through, you can go back out and you ain't got to knock back on it. But you're not gonna disrespect who I choose. I can't pick who you love, and you ain't gonna pick who I love. But you're not gonna disrespect who I choose to have in my life. And if a man don't stand up for a woman that he chooses to have in his life and let his children disrespect the woman he chooses, he's not really a real man. And if a woman lets her children disrespect a man she chooses to be in her life, she ain't a real woman. You check that child. Because if I'm married to Steen, that relationship is more important, because when this relationship is good, that relationship gonna be good. The better we are, the better it's gonna be for y'all. Because so many these stepkids that are not yours don't realize what they're missing out on by mistreating the person that daddy or mama has brought into their life. You wouldn't have to go to your daddy if you learn how to respect me and didn't disrupt the peace of our home. Listen, just hush now before you make me go out. Because ain't nobody even got no business entertaining their grown kids. If they over 18 years old and if they over 21, first of all, they shouldn't even factor in no decisions you make. You obligated to them not at all. You shouldn't even be having a conversation. And no person should entertain anything anybody got to say over 21 about what I'm doing in my personal and private life. Too many people do that, though. Michael tried to get that 30-year-old, she has some kids, and the first thing she gonna say, you gonna be don't be disciplining my kid. I would tell her, look, take your kids and you and get out. Because ain't no way you gonna tell me that I can't tell a kid what to do that staying in my house. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going off. See, so I tell you, Gladys always get me off the subject. Let me get back on my class. Take advice. Don't give unsolicited advice. And so many times you get in trouble because you get in these relationships, and the dynamic of relationships are just different and they're complicated. And you got to move very slow, because people get offended if you say something to them. You know how you could see somebody out in public, especially if it's a young person, you saw them doing something inappropriate, and you like, yeah, man, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that no more. Young lady, why you got that rag on your head in the middle of the day with them high shoes and pajama pants on? Oh, you something to get cussed out because you giving unsolicited advice. You can't do that anymore. We live in a different world. Whereas people used to accept that and receive it, you can't do it now. Because people don't like that. Everybody has a rebellious, and people are angry. We were sitting in court yesterday. And I got to be careful telling these stories, man, it's a different world. The judge trying to give counsel and advice, and them people, first of all, if somebody got my fate in their hand, and their decision is going to determine whether I'm going home or going to jail, man, I'm finna drop all my pride. You ever heard of throwing yourself on the mercy of the court? And the judge was telling her, you do not understand, I got your freedom in my hand. You know what this woman said? I don't care. I'm going to say what I want to say. Take her back. Now, who thinks like that? We in a world that people are that hostile, have no humility, full of pride. I'm just saying, this advice thing, nobody can really give advice until you walk in peace. You know, there's such thing as sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is what you have when you look at a situation and your heart goes out to a person. Empathy is when you put yourself in that person's shoes. And that's really hard to do because there's so many other factors. You know what I mean? Ralph West talks about how people think because he's a pastor and he doesn't cry when he does the funerals of his relatives that he doesn't feel some sense of sadness because they don't really empathize with him, and they understand he up there doing that funeral, but he tore up on the inside. It don't look like it. So, because you really can't put yourself in somebody's shoes and really know the attachments people have. And so advice is not a good thing. And I really don't want to get too much in here because I go on down. But he says, but my mouth would encourage you and comfort you from my lips and would bring you relief. And Job's talking about that if he had an opportunity and they were in his shoes, if he were, and I'm around verse number 4 and 5, Job was really saying, look, if I was in y'all's shoes and y'all were in my shoes, I would come at least try to give you words of encouragement. He says, but by my mouth I would encourage you and comfort you from my lips that would bring you relief. And you sit up here trying to make me feel guilty, like me feel like I done done something wrong. Now, I wouldn't do that to y'all. Here's a great lesson. Silence is sometimes the best response. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Silence sometimes. Job said, if the shoe was on the other foot, I would bring words, but my mouth would encourage you and would bring from my lips words of comfort. He says, my pain is not relieved. And he really tells them, y'all just making me feel worse as opposed to better. That's another thing. You know you need to limit your contact with a person and communication with a person if when you talk to them, after you talk to them, you feel worse rather than better. I'm telling you, if you call somebody and you call them because you in a low place, depressed and have anxiety, and when you get off the phone and you feel worse, you probably don't need to call them no more. Because their words are supposed to be soothing and comforting and relieving, and it's supposed to lift you out of that funk that you're in and lift the anxiety, and you feel better. That's how you know whether or not that person is a Barnabas, which is an encourager. How do you feel when you get through talking to that person? Do you feel better or worse? Huh? Well, you probably only talk to them too much. Huh? Hang up the phone. Well, see, she gonna be with Jesus now. Miss Schaefer, I'd be like, oh, I got another call coming in. I love her to death, but boy, you couldn't get a word in edgewise sometimes. And she ain't here to cuss me out now, so I can say it about her. And I told Miss Schaefer, she just get to talking. She get to talking. You couldn't get a word in edgewise. You have to just hang up the phone. You see what I'm saying? Because see, you got to know who you can go to in times when you need an encouraging word. Sometimes you just want to talk to somebody. That's good. But sometimes you reach out to people but see, just go ahead and tell them why you called in the first place. And see, we beat around the bush, and sometimes our pain is so overwhelming, our grief is so overwhelming, the anxiety is so overwhelming, the depression has set in so deep that you really can't just come out and say that you need to talk to somebody. You get what I'm saying? I've been there before. And then after them filibustering for about 45 minutes, then they said, girl, whew, it's been a rough day. I'm thinking about the loss of my mama, my sister, and brother. You finally get to the point, 45. You got to get somebody who got a good listening ear. I'm not a good listener. Don't over there no more. I didn't ask you nothing. I'm not a good, because I'm impatient. Because, see, I talk for a living. And pretty much I listen for a living. And like, Ralph West says, sometimes the preacher just wants silence because you really don't have it. And so I'm not a good listener if we're not in a professional clinical setting where we're talking and it's scheduled. So, because sometimes when members call me, I'm just not that good of a listener because I be really ready to kind of get to the point. You know what I mean? So we can kind of resolve this and see what we can come to solution. And then sometimes they get to keep talking. I say, well, let's pray about it. Let's pray. Because I want, because I don't have the answer. And so you guys sometimes admit when you don't have the answers to people's issues. Because I can't comfort, I don't know what to say. Go ahead. Huh? That is so, and stop taking my points. I'm going to get there. Sometimes people just need you to listen. They're not looking for answers. They're not looking for you to decode their difficulties, their problems. They just need somebody to listen. See, that's why you got to know how to pick your friends. Find some people who are good at listening, and then find people who are good at problem solving. See, I got people in my life who are good listeners, but then I got people in my life that's in my council of many that are problem solvers. They so smart, I know if I call them and tell them what the problem is, boom, they're going to give me a solution, not necessarily going to give me an advice. They're going to say, this is an option you have. Then I can, some people I talk to, they'll listen to me rant and rave for hours. And they don't say nothing, they just listen. They just, yeah. My mother used to call me, whoo. I was so glad when they came up with the earbud technology. Because usually when she get to talking, she going to tell me about everybody died, everybody she mad at in the family. Her other sister can't get along. How my sister's a molly hopper. My brothers don't come see, and I just lay the phone down, put it on speaker dial. She said, you listen to me? Yeah. I'm way in the kitchen. Because I ain't going to get a word in edgewise. She just going to talk, and talk. But see, you got to find people like that. Let me tell you about your council of many, your circle of many. Pick people, different kind of people, not the same people. Have a diverse group in your council. Like one person to have in your council of many is a problem solver, a person who has proven experience based on their life that you trust, that they got to where they are with honesty and integrity that you can talk to and you trust their judgment. I got one of them in my circle. I know that any advice they give me is going to be good advice. I trust their judgment. I trust their decision making. Then I got somebody in my circle that they just listen. They let me rant and rave. I'm James Howe's listener. He called me and he might be on the phone 2 hours, ranting and raving. I ain't got no solutions to his problem. I just listen. I'm one of in his circle of many. You need somebody just can listen. And then you need one of these here too. She's sitting back in the corner. Somebody's going to argue with you, challenge you, everything you say. Always got a different opinion. They're going to make you sharp. They're going to make you say a couple of them 4-letter words. Go back and forth with it. Yeah, you need somebody like that. You don't need everybody. You don't need somebody in there that agree with everything you say. You need somebody in there that'll challenge you on some stuff. You don't need no yes man. In your circle of many, you need the person that's a problem solving, person that'll listen, and then a person that'll flat foot stand up to you and just tell you you're wrong, argue with you. You got to have them. See, some of you, that's the problem. Everybody's saying yes. Don't nobody oppose you. Ain't nobody in your circle of many who will tell you you're wrong, tell you that you ain't right. Yeah, they go faithful. And listen, when you get, they need they need to be in your circle, because when y'all get through cussing and fussing and arguing with each other, you be like, bye, I love you. And y'all can still talk the next day. Now, if it's somebody to get mad and y'all can't talk 5 or 6 days, you probably don't, that's not the person. You need somebody that's got soft skin and can absorb a lot of your stuff and you can absorb a lot of their stuff. But you need one of them in your circle of many. I told you need a problem solver, you need a person who'll listen, but then you need a person that's adversarial who will challenge you and give you a run for your money. They won't let you get away with your bull. They won't flatter you, just speak the truth to you. They'll tell you you're wrong. And they'll call out a lie. So you lying. You don't like them. Boy, anybody here hate to be called a lie? You need one of them. I got one of them. Boy, they make me so mad sometimes. And then they don't never tell me I'm lying. You know what they tell? You stretching the truth there, ain't you, Reverend? Like, so if I am, well, you kind of stretching it a little too far. I'm saying that's the kind of people you need in there. If you don't have them kind of people, you're probably not going to make real good decisions. And if you got a major decision that affects your life, or affects the life of people around you, go bounce it off one of those three people, or all of those people, and get their input. Let them assess the situation, because sometimes the best advice is a person who's not in it, but a person who's looking at it, because they get a better observation of the situation, and they're unbiased. Okay, let me give you this, because I'm closing. Now, I ain't talking about, now, don't ask nobody no advice about something that's personal. That's real personal. So y'all don't get it, huh? I'm finna tell you. What's in your bank account is personal. Don't ask nobody no advice about that. Don't even let no folk know how much you got in your bank account. Who sleep in your bed? Personal. Especially after you let them get in your bed. Now, before you start to get advice before they get in. That's when you need to be asking folk what you think. But once they get in, you need to keep that to yourself. It's too late to ask for advice. You done already made the choice. But now you can ask folk before you let them get in the bed. But once they're in the bed, what you asking somebody for? That's the choice you done made. It is what it is. Because ain't nothing they're going to be able to say that's going to change any personal decision. And then your children. That's not something you really need to get advice about. Because listen, you can pretty much wing being a good parent. And the thing about parenting, you know what your tolerance level is. You know what your compassion meter is. And now listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Now this is the stupidest thing I ever heard. Now I'm glad Neely is up. You do not love your children all the same. Now you're alive. You say you do. You don't love all your children the same. You love them uniquely and differently. Every one of them. You can't love them all the same because they ain't the same. They all bring something different to the table, and they all make you feel a certain kind of way and invoke different emotions. Ain't the truth what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Some of my children, I got to be careful because they be listening to my Bible study. And they'll be debating on the group text we have which one I'm talking about. But some of them, one of them, two of them, when I see their number pop up, a certain level of anxiety automatically kick in. Ain't the truth what I'm saying? And then some of them, when they call, it make me feel so good inside because I know it's going to be something funny. Something you don't treat them all the same because they ain't all the same. And if you try to treat them all the same, you're going to mess them up and you're going to mess you up. Okay, see y'all acting funny now. I got one more minute. You know there's some children you got. If they say, let me borrow some money, you know good doggone well you ain't going to never see it back. Now, tell the truth. You ain't going to see a dime of that money back. You know it's like putting money in a pocket with a hole in it. You might well just go and give it to them. And that's the child you said, I ain't going to give you $100, but I'll give you 50 because you know you ain't going to see the 50 back. So you might well go and hold on to the 100 because you know once you give them that, you ain't going to get a dime back. And then they going to lie and say, well, Mom, I'm going to come mow the yard next week. You know that yard still going to have grass growing up to your knees next week. Yeah, right. Don't let people have money that you need. If you need it, don't let them have it. Yeah, don't let people have what you need. Because if you need it, there's a good chance you're not going to get it back. You only let people borrow what you don't need. Don't let them borrow your light bill money now. Don't let them borrow your car note money. You need that. Because, Ma, boy, I got to pay my car note next week. Ma, I promise I'll have it back to you next week. You might as well go on and call the repo man because they come to get your car. Because that baby ain't bringing that money back. If you let your children borrow money and they start making, they say, I promise, you already know you done lost that money. If anybody that say, I promise I'm going to pay you back, you already know that money is flushed down the toilet. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be very careful in these situations. It's 7 o'clock, right on time. And I'm trying to explain to you, my brothers and sisters, you don't treat all your children the same because they're not the same. You have a different relationship because there's different emotions, and they invoke different emotions in you. You invoke different emotions in them. Trying to raise children today is difficult. You know why? Because they feel entitled, and they blame everybody for everything but themselves. And they have a chip on their shoulder. Now, come on. We're going to all admit this. These little rascals think they had it as bad as we got it as far as parenting. No, they don't have it as bad because our parents had less and had to work harder and spent less time with us. And we had to wait hard, and we there for these little boogers. I started to say something else. We there for them. We keep them and hold them up and help them with the grandkids and help them. My mama couldn't afford to help me. You know how many light bill and car notes and I done helped my kids with? My mama couldn't do none of that. And I'm telling you, these kids invoke different emotions. And I'm just telling you, you can't treat them all the same. They are not the same. Okay, the other thing, and I got a minute. You can't treat anybody the same. It's different when it comes to friends and sisters and brothers. Then you know some of your siblings you closer to than others, kinfolk you closer to. Ralph West said this week, and I told you I listened about 12 sermons. Ralph West said this. He remember be like, Pastor, you ain't supposed to have no favorite members. He said, but I do. And I'm going to keep my favorite members. He said Jesus had 12 disciples, but 3 of them was closer than the other 9. What's wrong with having, Jesus had Peter, James, and John. They wasn't as close as Matthew, Judas, and the rest of them. You do have favorite people that you're just closer to, not because you love them less or love them more. You're just closer. You build relationships with people. You have connections with people. You know what I'm saying? Just close. I'm just closer to some of y'all than I am the rest of y'all. Some of y'all are too uptight. You take things too serious. Loosen up a little bit. Take yourself too serious. We laugh and joke and count. What? Oh, she funny, acting. I tell you right now. We get along out of 7 days a week, we get along about 2.5. Because she try to run everything. She don't run nothing. I'm like,